this when this works. I just watched Cold Crash Pictures' video on rise and grind film culture. In the beginning, I liked what he was talking about. I clicked on the video because I figured that I knew what he would talk about, but by the end, something didn't sit right with me. I scrolled down through the massive amount of comments to find one comment that disagreed with his sentiment. I do this for every video, no matter if I agree with it or if I don't agree with it. I had to scroll through a few hundred comments before I got anything that even slightly disagreed with the video idea. The commentator pretty much said that dreams change, that the saying chase your dreams is just a motivator to be brave and actually go out there and do something, to actually learn about the world that your dream inhabits and the different opportunities to set world. I've never looked at the phrase like that before, and it made me realize that when you decide that you are going to chase a dream, it is based on a shallow view of the world. You pretty much set a goal without knowing anything about the process. You set the goal as an outsider looking in, so then you start on the journey to the dream and realize how much goes into it. You meet other people who have the same dream and hear stories about people who achieved what you're aspiring for and how they did. You discover niches, complexities, and the fact that the world you just dove into is way bigger than you expected. At least that's what happened to me when I decided I want to be a famous musician. With so much new information, how hasn't your dream changed? Why are you still clinging to the naive goals of the person you were years ago, before you knew anything about what you were getting into? Even more, why are you sad that it didn't work out? Why is your artistic success based on the stars of the mainstream? Haven't you learned that most of the innovation comes from the underground and is only picked up by the mainstream when a tastemaker suggests it, or it gets so popular that it is either copied or studios just can't resist the dollar signs attached to it? I used to want to be a famous musician, but my dream has changed. If I make a song that inspires someone to try something different, gets a person through a tough time, or even makes someone think, if he can do it, I can do it, I've achieved my goal. And guess what? Unless someone shouts me out in an interview or messages me that I've affected them that way, then there's no telling if I've achieved that dream or not. So I don't even focus on a dream anymore. I just make stuff and put it out there. As long as I like it, that's all that matters. That's how most people achieve that big Hollywood dream anyway. They're just doing stuff that they like/think is interesting, and they're brought on board by a person who thinks their work is interesting as well. At least that's what happens to a lot of the people who aren't born into the industry and make inspirational work. Who knows when that will happen? Who knows if it will happen? So you have to see it as less of a goal and more of a lifelong process. In the end, it doesn't matter if it happens anymore because that's not even the goal. Finally, we'll get to the rise and grind part of the video. I'm not a shining example of that culture by any means. Shit, I take so many breaks that it's probably toxic to my work, but I understand why that culture exists. The simple fact of the matter is that artists make a lot of art. They probably publish just a core of that art, and even less of that art becomes known to people who aren't loyal fans to said artists. They need to rise and grind to survive. It's not a choice. If your primary concern is being comfortable, then you're probably not going to make it. This isn't to say that you should sacrifice your health and financial stability to chase your dreams. Rather, the reason for this glorification of pain is because so many people are going through it, and embracing it is a better option than the woe is me alternative. In other words, it's an effort to not let that pain stop you. Now, I do cringe whenever I see one of those motivational speakers say anything. I'd rather a process be explained or an aspect of the field be described rather than someone just saying that you can do it, Especially when they outright lie about certain realities of the pursuit or ignore crucial variables like luck. But I do think this culture is important and inevitable. Without it, the only people who go for anything will be people who see themselves as being in a great position for said pursuit and don't run into any hardships along the way. So glad I finished this first video for my channel. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see my future videos. Comment topic suggestions, por favor.